The ancient city of Hue was the country's capital during the mid-1700s and then again for over a century starting in the early 1800s. The bloodiest battle of the Vietnam War was fought in Hue, and the city's ancient monuments, including 19th century Imperial City complex, were severely damaged. Today, visiting this historic attraction is one of the top things to do in Hue. Hue sits on the banks of the Perfume River, so called because during spring the local orchards shed their flowers into the river, causing the water to smell like perfume. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 rated attractions and things to do in Hue. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome travel guides and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So now, let's cut to the chase. At 10, Dong Ba Market. Outdoor markets are a staple of Vietnamese culture, and the Dong Ba Market in Hue is no exception. The oldest and largest market in the city, Dong Ba covers 16,000 square meters of chaotic space, where stalls selling fresh vegetables sit next to handicrafts or souvenirs. The market opens in the very early hours of the morning, like 3 a.m, to cater to locals shopping for fresh seafood and other foods, but you can arrive during the day or afternoon to pick up mementos to take home. If you're after clothes or wearable souvenirs, the market does have an entire second floor dedicated to this, where you can find all types of textiles plus many examples of non la bai to, the typical conical leaf hat worn in Vietnam. Other great Vietnamese souvenirs you can find here include lacquerware items, bamboo products and guac moc, a type of simple clogs made of bamboo or wood. At 9, Tan Toan Bridge. This wooden 18th century tile-roofed footbridge is located around 7 kilometers outside Hue. The Japanese-style bridge was built over a small river, allowing locals to cross over from one side to the other without a boat, but also providing an escape from the heat for rural workers who would otherwise spend all day in the sun. Inside the bridge, a small altar is dedicated to the memory of Tran Thi Dao, the rich widow who originally paid for the construction of the bridge. Although the bridge itself is interesting, the trip to the sleepy village of Toi Tan Village, where the bridge is located, is just as special. The ride to the village takes visitors through rice paddies, temples and lots of examples of what local life is like here. Once at the village, you can stop by to see the beautiful columns of the city gate or hop on a boat to ride under the bridge and experience the river a different way. The local farming museum, where you can see ancient farming tools used to cultivate rice and how they impacted local life, is another great stop before heading back to Hue. Next up at 8, the To Mieu Shrine. Modelled after the Imperial Ancestral Temple in China's Forbidden City, the To Mieu Temple was built to allow ancestor worship of past emperors. Although no actual remains of the emperors themselves are buried here, there are 9 urns to represent 9 Nguyen emperors. Each emperor also has his own altar, with photos of himself and the empress or empresses for those with more than one wife, small offerings and incense. A massive stone gate, sweeping grounds and lots of solitude make this temple a favourite sightseeing destination of those exploring Hue. Only a quarter of the original structures survived the Vietnam War, and very little work has been done to restore the ruins, so the place is a quiet reminder of difficult times while allowing you a chance to admire the grandeur of the temple still there. At 7, Hope Center. The Hope Center was created to help disabled and disadvantaged people, as well as ethnic minorities in Hue, by offering them a chance to learn to sew. The centre produces uniforms for schools and hospitals, as well as a number of handicrafts, including basket making, textile weaving and handmade jewellery and bowls. Most textile items are produced using aloe fabric, dyed and produced by the Ta Oi ethnic group. Visitors can see weaving and work being done on site and buy items to take with them. It's also possible to practice shaping and firing your own pottery or making handmade recycled products you can then take home. All classes, tours and events here are organised and guided by the people who work at the centre, so you'll get a chance to interact with them and learn how the place is changing their life. At 6, Hue Museum of Royal Fine Arts. Housed inside the former Long An Palace, this museum offers a fascinating look into the culture and history of the city. The massive collection of over 10,000 objects includes everything from ceramics and silver objects to personal belongings and royal clothing of former Vietnam emperors, furniture, Fab Lam-enabled metal art, and lots of paintings and detailed murals. All exhibits are labelled in English, and many include background details to help visitors better understand the history behind it and who used it. While photography inside the museum is not allowed, this one-storey wooden palace and the beautiful gardens around it provide plenty of picture-worthy corners waiting to be discovered. At 5. Dieu De Pagoda. Named after the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism, this small golden pagoda in the centre of Hue has been the site of activism, protests and some political violence during the 1960s. The best known case being in 1963, when civilian Buddhists confronted Diem's army to trying to protect the pagoda from being raided. 30 people died and 200 were wounded in one night. Today the pagoda has become a symbol for freedom, and it's visited not only by Buddhists but also activists from all around the world. Sitting right on the Dongba Canal and surrounded by lush vegetation, the pagoda provides a peaceful escape from the heat and the tourist crowds. 4 towers surround the temple and provide a home for bells, while the main hall houses a Gautama Buddha statue. At 4. Royal Tomb of Emperor Khai Dinh. Located just outside Hue on the steep Chao Chu mountain, the tomb was built for the 12th emperor of the Nguyen dynasty, who died in 1925. Emperor Khai Dinh was actually highly disliked by his people since he sympathized with French colonizers and ordered many nationalist leaders to be arrested. He's also responsible for forcing a change to a Romanized Vietnamese alphabet in 1918, which resulted in people abandoning the original local language. There are almost no people left alive who can read the original Old Vietnamese language. Emperor Khai Dinh's tomb is one of the most imposing tombs ever designed in Vietnam, perhaps because he oversaw the construction himself, with funds raised by increasing taxes by 30%. The result is an imposing and elaborate construction that mixes Eastern and Western details. The tomb is flanked by 2 giant dragon sculptures and features an imperial audience court, 12 statues that serve as bodyguards, a palace room richly decorated with porcelain and glass, and a small temple with an altar where the actual grave is located. And now at 3, Thien Mu Pagoda. Also known as the Pagoda of the Celestial Lady, this 7-storey pagoda is one of the most recognizable symbols of the city of Hue. It was built in 1601 by Lord Nguyen Hoang, who was told about a local legend. According to the legend, an old lady dressed in blues, greens and reds foretold a pagoda would be built in that place and people would come to it to pray for Vietnam's prosperity. Over the next 2 centuries, the temple was expanded and special details and buildings were added, including a massive bell that can be heard 10 kilometers away and a number of additional praying halls, towers for storing sacred texts, and meditation halls. Beautiful gardens, including a bonsai garden, are set around the buildings, many of them hidden from view at first until you take this path or that path towards another area of the pagoda grounds. Parked under an open space, you'll also find a car used during the Diem regime protests. In a fight for religious freedom, Quan Duc, a monk from Hue, drove to Saigon, parked this car and then set himself on fire. The story of his life and self-immolation are told through words and pictures posted on this temple. And now at 2, Thai Hoa Palace. Perhaps the most important construction of the Nguyen dynasty, the last dynasty in Vietnam, the design of this palace is meant to represent a deep yin-yang balance, where both the physical and the spiritual are in perfect harmony. Although the palace survived the Vietnam War bombings, extensive repairs had to be done to the inside to restore the damage caused during the Battle of Hue. The Thai Hoa Palace sits at the heart of the Hue citadel, right after crossing the Ngo Mon Gate. A lotus lake and a long courtyard walkway provide an impressive welcome to the palace. The main room of the palace is a large hall with a timber roof and 80 timber columns. Originally meant for royal ceremonies and events, it was also the crowning place for Emperor Gia Long and the area where he received visitors, both during official business meetings and when the doors were, in rare occasions, open to the public. A covered golden throne sits in the centre of the hall. And finally, at number 1, Imperial City Hue. A UNESCO World Heritage Site of bright reds and yellows, the Imperial City is Hue's most important attraction and the first stop in your discovery of the city. A walled area inside the historical citadel of Hue, the Imperial City was once the capital of Vietnam. In 1804, Emperor Gia Long consulted geomancers to decide on the most auspicious location for the 10-kilometre-long walled citadel, which was eventually placed southeast to face the Perfume River. The grounds of the Imperial City are surrounded by towering walls and a moat and include temples, gardens, palaces and residences. However, of the original 160 large buildings that dotted the grounds of the city, only 10 survived Vietnam War bombings. Many of the buildings that still stand are now empty and can be explored freely by visitors, but some have been restored or are under restoration, including halls, city gates and shrines. And there you have the top 10 rated attractions and things to do in Hue. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fantastic travel guides. See you next time.